To Nima, some residents of that vicinity are rejecting the tag of violence and thuggery associated with their community, as they say non-residents from adjoining suburbs are responsible for the crimes there. There was a violent clash between two groups in Nima and Mamobi sometime in January this year that put the community once again in bad light. Some of the residents who spoke to us as part of our latest episode of Joy in My Community said some of the persons come to the community to engage in illicit activities. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
I've been finding out from the people I've been meeting here at Nima what the meaning of Nima is. One group tells me that Nima is an Arabic word meaning blessing. Another group I've been speaking to also tells me that Nima is a Ga word, which means the chief's village or the chief's town. Nima, the chief's town.
A bless in Arabic, Nima.
Okay.
It means bless, but others say that it's a Nima in Ga. So I don't know the real. We take it from the Arabic is Nima. Nima.
Nima.
Yeah, Nima.
Okay, which means?
From our scholars.
Yeah.
But actually what
which
we...
means blessed.
Which blessed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what we just read from the history, they said is Nima. The Ga means chief's village.
Majority of the people who live in this community are Muslims. I've been speaking to the Imam of the Abubakar Siddiq Mosque, Zakaria Umar Jinko, and he's been telling me about the spiritual lives of the people who live here in this community, Nima.
I lead prayers, and then at times, as from gatherings, we go to gatherings, we educate people about Islam. There are many changes that we have seen, but still we need change. The change that we need is most of the people coming to our community, they are not from our community. They came from outside to come and disrupt people in the community. Why am I saying this? Because a boy who is born in this community, when he's making something which is not good, you call him, you talk to him, he regards you, he listens to you, he stops. But those coming outside, they don't respect you, they don't know you. So whenever they are doing things which is not good, you talk to them, they don't listen.
This is just one of the many places where you find young people gathered, having a good time discussing social issues here in Nima. And you can see behind me, these young ones are enjoying a game of snooker. I've been speaking to Manaf Mohammed, whose workshop is just some meters away from this place. And he's been telling me that one of the major challenges here in this community is youth unemployment.
Living in Nima is assuming some are bad peer groups, influence due to friendship or relationships. You understand? Those are some of the challenges we get in Nima. Employment rate is not good at all in Nima. Yes, because when you take a look around, most of us are graduates, but there is no work to do.
Malik Gambo was born and bred here in Nima. At a point, he left this community to the US to seek for greener pastures. He returned and actually contested as a parliamentary candidate during the recent past elections. He tells me that he is concerned about how a lot of people are now associating Nima with violence. He says that many of the people who commit some of the atrocities do not come from this community.
We need a hospital. Okay. We need a rehabilitation center, because some of the guys who come over from somewhere else, they become like drug addicts. But the real Nimanians are not drug addicts, I'm serious. Because I know some of them, I used to ask them, you know, I have a house just right back. A lot of junkies, we call them junkies, right? Yeah. Most of them are not from Nima. Okay. I can assure you about 80% of them are not from Nima. Okay. If you try to investigate from them, they are not from Nima. But the Nimanians themselves, they are very peaceful guys. Okay. I was born, raised, school in Nima.
Many of the young people here are expert motor riders. So occasionally during religious celebrations, you find them riding in groups on the streets. I've been speaking to a man who has lived here for the past 35 years. He was born and bred here. Eric Owusu tells me that he's excited that many of the young people here are now using their motorbikes for profitable business. He says many of them who use their motorbikes for Okada business make money, and they use that to cater for themselves and their families.
You know, Zongo community, I think we want everything fast. That's what I would say. I think since the Okada came into Zongo, I can see always anybody wants to sit on motor. That's what I would say. It's the fastest way.
Nima, once upon a time, was a very peaceful distant area. And most of all, what we have is those who.
All is set for the commissioning of the two-tier Tamale interchange. The completion of the project is expected to reduce traffic in and around the central business area of the Tamale metropolis. We'll bring you snipers of the event as it gets underway. In the meantime, though, we have been engaging some residents who have been sharing their views about the impact of the project on their lives. Let's hear from them.
I'm excited of it because I want to see my president in Ghana so that he will open the interchange for us to see how it will move.
What does the interchange mean to you as a resident of Tamale?
It means a lot because it has developed Tamale. It has made Ghana Tamale to look nice.
Actually, it means a lot to me because it will beautify Tamale. Not only that, because of the traffic is the route. The traffic is very big sometimes. When the interchange is done, then it will make the route to be cool and easy for us to pass every day.
As a resident, it's not a bad thing. I think it's boost the economy and then, well, not the economy of the nation as a whole, but the town will benefit from it. Let me say that.
What benefit comes to the town?
Well, the interchange makes the traffic less, which makes movement easier, and then we go to work, we come back to work, and then we can get home in time. At least that helps.
Oh, the interchange is good. We appreciate that because we never see this one before in other regions. So how the interchange is now we come to the president. But we should give us more. We want more interchange. Not but this one very short. But we want him to add us more. Everybody wants more things. To appreciate the interchange. So we should add us more. So that we will enjoy northern region. Where we go different places.
Because the interchange, they said they are going to do like the thing like Kumasi. Oh, but this is what they just do. Fly over, or what do you call it? It's not too long, and how could you like the work? They shouldn't do it like the way they have done it, but because we never had it, we never have.
Correspondent Martina Bugri joins us live with more. Martina, what's the latest you can report from the ceremony?
We are told the president has arrived and very soon he will be joining the gathering this morning. But the vice president is already in, and as I was stepping out to report, he was taking his seat. We are expected to have ministers of state chiefs and some traditional leaders are also here. We also have religious leaders and the general public. They have come to see what is going to happen. I must say that the euphoria started 2 nights ago when the ninth view of the interchange was released on social media. Tagged Tamale Dubai. People have talked about it. People have come to the place to see how it looks like. And this morning we are expected to see the commissioning by the President of the Republic. We are told that the interchange has a 1.1 kilometer bridge and ramps, drains, and street works around the place. We are also told that a 10-kilometer asphalt overlay around the interchange has been done. And so the President will be commissioning and inspecting these when he arrives.
I understand, Martina, how people feel with this project. I mean, how happy they are. Let's understand what the problem has been over the period and what difference this project will make.
Now, the business district has always been choked because of vehicular and human traffic. And so with the construction of the overhead, it is expected to take some of vehicles up and some down. Now they've created some more routes around it, so we have several ins and outs, and so it makes traffic lesser in the area, and people are expecting to move easily and safely.
Martina is our Northern Region correspondent. She's stationed in Tamale and she's monitoring this event closely for us. We'll be bringing you updates and as and when it unfolds. So it's just that this interchange is going to be unveiled and the people are already excited about the project. And as you heard Martina speak, it's going to make a lot of difference after its commissioning. Let's come back to Accra because the computerized school selection and placement process for prospective senior high school students has started. Over the years, the process has been fraught with many challenges, with parents in particular complaining about non-placement of their wards and system jams. There have also been issues about students not getting their choice of schools. Some even accuse managers of the system of taking monies behind the door just to get their wards placed in the schools of their choice. To what extent are managers of the process addressing these challenges and allegations? I'm joined in the studio by spokesperson for the Ministry of Education, Kwesi Kwarteng. Good to see you this morning.
Hey, Aisha. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you too?
I'm fine.
We're back here again. I mean, it's become an annual ritual.
Yeah, as usual.
But first, let's understand the objective of the computerized placement system.
Okay, Aisha, thank you once again, and of course a very good morning to your viewers. So the whole idea is to be able to place students, within the schools of their choices that they select, because if you look at our system or the model that we practice, it's purely on choice based. And so if you look at the CSSPS, our main objective is to within the public schools that are available, we have to place students in them as part of their secondary education. But if before the placement is done, we do something that we call the selection.
Okay.
And then the selection of the schools, this year, for instance, we did about 6 of the schools where prospective candidates or candidates are encouraged to select schools. Of course, if you look at the schools have been put into various categories. You have category A, category B, and category C schools, and of course the category D, which is more or less like compulsory day school within a catchment area. If you look at the criteria of the school, it's largely influenced by usually in terms of the academic performance of that particular school. So for instance, you have a school like Wesley Girls who may be put in grade A. Also the subscription, recently a school like Manfred Girls, for instance, people are really subscribing because now they are getting some international recognition in robotics and other things. Then you come to also the category B schools, also largely based on the variable sectors, performance, subscription, infrastructure. So you have the categorization of these schools. So students are encouraged to select 6 of these schools. You can select just one choice within the category A school, and then category B, you are able to select 2 choices. The category C is unlimited, and that very one of category D. The whole idea about the selection process is to also prevent situations where you have all the over 555,000 students which are eligible for placement, or probably selecting just few schools. You can also have that possibility. And so when there is a placement regime like this or a system like this, I mean, BK Grant Technologies, they are doing very well with the system and the administration of the system. This year, I'm not sure you've heard situations where candidates and their walls are in Independence Square crying and of course, I mean, making their concerns about this.
But I've heard candidates who've been placed where they did not even choose.
I'll come there. It's almost impossible in that circumstance, and I'll be surprised. But of course, I mean, that's why we have the resolution centers there. If there is a system, but so having explained the selection criteria, what we did, the Minister for Education said that, well, I mean, there has been in the past instances where students said, I wasn't placed in this place, I wasn't placed in this school. So what the Minister directed the CSSP Secretariat to do is that send back all the selected schools to the various candidates. We call that process text for confirmation, so that they confirm indeed if that is the schools that they selected or they chose at the end of the day. If there is any mismatch, you give them the opportunity to liaise with their school. Because remember, in the selection process, they give a copy of the slip to the school, they keep one, while two has a copy. So where there have to be changes, quickly they'll go and make the change.
So in that case, they send it back to the schools or the students themselves?
The students, yes.
Okay, individually?
Individually. Most of the times, most of the students also provided the contacts of their guardians. So most of the is based on the contact that you send. That was the first stage with regards to the placement process. Because you have the selection process and then the placement process. But before we went ahead with the placement process, we gave the opportunity to confirm what you've done.
Okay.
So it will be almost impossible for us to do otherwise. At the end of the day, then we started with the placement. And of course, the placement, a lot of students mix out. It's possible that people will mix out on their first choice. So today I had an instance where somebody says she had grade 10 and she couldn't make any of her choices. Now, Aisha, this will be the circumstances on which those issues can happen. So I had grade 10. I select a school like Pempe College, or for instance, you also had grade 10, select a school like Wesley Girls. These are very overly subscribed schools, highly very competitive. So you select a program like General Science. For instance, you have a vacancy of, let's say, 500 for general science students or 300 for general science students. Let's use 300 for the, hypothetically. Then you had grade 10, and about 700 people subscribed to that school or chose that school. Within this 700, you have about 400 of them that had grade 6. Okay. What it means is that they are going to be considered first because their aggregate is better than yours. It means that when you've missed your first chance or the first opportunity in getting enlisted in your first school, then you move you to your second school. But what you should remember, Aisha, is that your second school is also the first choice of somebody, another person. And so it's also possible that you mix your second school. But, I mean, look, for instance, you get to even your second choice. You had grade 10. I also had grade 10. There is still probably one space left. Then we look at what we call the tie system. If there is any tie, then we consider what we call the raw score. So your raw score, Aisha, probably you had 400. I had 400 and maybe 11. It means that I will also have an opportunity. We also consider things like, let's say, their residential status. Aisha, if there are declared vacancies in Wesley Girls, let's say 500 for boarding, and we all had the same grade, grade 10, and you selected day, and I selected, let's say, boarding. It is possible that the day student may get it because probably the boarding, the vacancies there has been exhausted. So it depends on all these variables that come to you. Look at the residence, you look at the program of choice. For instance, general science is a highly competitive program, subject that people may want to. And so it is the more reason why usually before the selection process, you see the CSSPS guys going around trying to sensitize the students that, hey, look, and guidance that you have to select the schools based on your performance. Because at the end of the day, we have schools that are overly subscribed. But of course, I mean, people, of course, I mean, there are also genuine situations where you have good students, but during the exams, they may not necessarily do well. People also want to rely on fate. They think that, oh...
But there have been people who did well, who had the grades, but still did not make it to
exactly.
schools.
Exactly. That's why I'm explaining that is highly competitive. So the fact that you had grades...
So that, at that point, hard luck comes in.
No, it depends. I don't even think it's hard luck. It's also about those that you are competing with. For instance, you are 500 students that all had grade 6. And you all want prep college. Then your raw score then comes in, especially when the vacancies that has been declared in prep college is 300. So then the raw score comes in. It means that we are going to push you to your second choice. But once again, don't forget your second choice is also somebody's first choice.
Yeah.
Where in terms of the automated system, they are also going to consider that person first. So it's possible you lose out on all your choices. But that's what the Minister for Education and the entire ministry, Ghana Education Service, TVS Service is saying. That really if you lose out on all your choices, that is all the 6 choices, we are not going to impose any school on you. Aisha, before that, it is instructive to state that everybody that had grade 6 to grade 12, all of them were placed within their first 6 choices. Most of them between their first 3 choices. Okay. So it is not possible that somebody had grade 6 to 12 and a person had been pushed to go and do self-placement. Because you had about 555,000 students, 353 of them. About 66% of them were automatically placed. That's represents around 367,811. But of course, you had about 187,540, which is represents around 33%. That has to go for self-placement. Let me state on record that the fact that we asked you to go for self-placement does not mean that you are not a good student. No. What it means is that in terms of your choices, you will not be able to match up because sometimes based on your residential status, based on the program of choice, and of course, I mean, just opposing it with the competitive nature of the schools that you've also subscribed to, it's possible that you are going to lose it out. Okay. But we are unable to impose a choice on you. So then we give you the opportunity that, hey, look, go onto the CSSPS portal and then select a school of your choice. Also, grade base. Okay. Because even with that, we are also categories of school there, grade B, grade C, and of course, the compulsory day schools that are there. So based on that, you also go there and select your...
This year, I haven't heard about the people in Volta region who've been placed in day schools in Accra and vice versa. But last year, we had a lot of, that incident of somebody who is in the Volta region who's been placed in a school in Accra and is supposed to be a day student and not a boarding student. How does that occur?
Aisha,
if you queue in information that people give to you and you know where the person is coming from, how on earth do you place a person very far apart from where they
Aisha,
are?
a lot of the instances, and of course this is my first experience with the CSSPS, the whole system. And in a lot of the experiences, if you probe further and you request for one document, please, are you able to give me your placement slip? You check the placement slip and you realize that indeed those were the choices that the people made. Because it's purely run by the system. It doesn't, especially the automatic placement. Of course, we also have the manual placement. But with regards to the automatic placement, which is the first one that has been released, it's purely run by the system. So, of course, I'm not saying that every system is 100%, but it will be almost impossible for somebody to select a school. What usually happens, right, Aisha, is that they have choices. For instance, they have 6 choices. A lot of them, they believe that the first choice, they are likely to get it, the second or the third. So when they are taking the last 3 choices, which is the 4, 5, 6, really no much... let me put it attention is placed on that. Yeah. So, let's pick this one and give it.
Ideally, your choice should be first to third.
Ideally,
that's what everybody wants.
Yeah, exactly. But remember, you're also competing with other people.
Others. But the point you're making, I'm speaking from experience. Yeah. My niece chose a school. I think she chose a school, a Brig Girls, I think, and she was given and she never even chose Adonting. And she was given Adonting.
In this year's placement?
Not this year.
Honestly, I'm unable to speak to the past because I wasn't even there. But with
so that was just last year.
Yeah, it could be possible. Because I wasn't there, I'm unable to speak to that.
Exactly. So, there's actually some spillover. So we need to address what happened before. Then we can look into the future.
That's what I'm saying.
So if you say that it is not possible for somebody not to choose a school and end up getting that school, I think it happens sometimes. That's why I'm sharing that experience with you.
So Aisha,
and you know the most worrying thing about it is that she was given Adonting and she was supposed to be a day student and she lives in Accra. How is that going to work?
So in that case, I'm only able to react to such instance when I see the placement slip. Okay. Usually, Aisha, yesterday in my office, for instance, somebody said they gave me day in, I think the school was St. Mary's. I never chose that. They came with their parents. They insisted. I just requested for the placement slip, and I realized that there was a day. They said, oh, that place there, it was my teacher who said, oh, the first thing I'll get it. So we really have to interrogate this. But of course, it does also give me the license to say that it can't happen because it's a system that you are running. But I'm saying that if you look at the work that BK Grant Technologies has done this time around with the software, the running of the software, it will be almost impossible to have a situation where you did not select a school and they give it to you. It is a more reason why people are even questioning that huge number that has gone to self-placement. Because you are having 187,542 that are on self-placement. Of course, we could have just placed them. But the Minister for Education said that, look, people make choices based on a lot of variables and a lot of reasons under different circumstances.
Okay.
You are unable to impose a choice on a person. The best you can do is that provide a list of schools. If they did not make any of their 6 choices, let them go there and then select their schools.
Okay.
So I believe that this year, if there was even such a challenge this year, we hope that it will be resolved. And Aisha, one important thing that we also have to add is that this year we have the TV schools also on board.
Okay.
And so, the ministry has been talking about free TVET. This is the year that is kickstarting. And if you recall, all the TV schools initially were under about 19 different ministries. This time around, we brought all of them under the Ministry of Education. Now, TVET stands as an agency on their own. And when you come to the CSSPS2, they will also categorize based on their grades, grade A, grade B, grade C. Unlike before, where there were only about 45 schools that were under the Ghana Education Service, we were only categorizing the grammar schools, grade A, grade B, grade C, then the TV schools follow up to around grade E. Because when you do that, it sends a message to people that, oh, are you suggesting that they are bad schools? Are you suggesting that students that go there, probably they are not academically good? So this time around, the minister said that let us also regrade them based on their competence and their academic performance. So you have the KTIs all coming. And Aisha, there are a lot of spaces for students within the TV space and even the grammar school. As I speak with you, if you look at the vacancies that was declared for all the placement, you have about 580,899. Only 367,811 has been used as at the automatic placement was done.
Okay.
So it means that we have a balance of 213,088.
Okay.
And if you want to juxtapose this with even those students who have to do self-placement, which are around 187,542, you still have some spaces left. So we are calling on parents to be calm. There are still spaces for everyone. I think the challenge is rather people not getting their choice of schools, but not getting a school at all.
But okay, so far, what has been the reaction from parents and their wards?
Yeah, obviously, like you are saying, a lot of people, it's not everyone that will be happy with the choice of the school, with the placement, because obviously a lot of people were expecting to get between their first choice or the second choice. So if you take such a student to their fourth choice, it's even possible they will tell you that they didn't even pick it. But then you refer to the placement document.
And you see that they picked it. But what goes into it to place somebody on to their fourth choice when they've really made the max?
Yes.
From 1 to 12. And you still give me my fourth choice.
Aisha, if you were only placing one person, it would have been
and
easy.
remember, when you are selecting the schools, there's no way you can select an A school as fourth choice. So as you go, then you are reducing it. So now your fourth choice will be a C school, right?
Yeah, yes, most
exactly.
Definitely.
No, so I want to attend an A school. Now you're putting me to a C school. I mean, that should be problematic.
So first, the consideration is the number of grades.
That's why I'm saying
that's
that
the first
people
one.
who have made it, I mean,
But it's
who
not
are
only
in
you.
that
It's not only
category
you.
between 1 and 12, and you're still giving me my fourth
After that,
choice.
we come to raw score.
Give it to those who had 36.
I'm saying that after the number of grades, so 400 students have all had grade 6. Out of these 400 students, they all want to go to Wesley Girls, right? Within these 400 students, realize that Wesley Girls has a space of, let's say, 200, vacancy of 200. What it means is that we have to move from the grade 6 to now the raw score, right? So the raw score is cumulatively.
Okay.
How marks did you get? How many marks did you get? Then you are able to get distinction. And then even though they all had grade 6, you will still have some 300 or some 200 students who probably their raw score could be better than the others.
Okay.
Then you separate. and then get the 200 for Wesley girls.
Okay.
The remaining 200 that could not make it will come to their second choice of school.
Okay.
Right? Even beyond that, sometimes you even have to look at variables like subject performance. Subject performance, because some subjects like English, mathematics, integrated science, and social studies, when there is really a tie, we look at that. So it is not as though you didn't perform. What it means is that somebody performed better than you. And so in terms of that specific school that you wanted, the person will make it. So it is not like those that we probably had, let's say, grade 14 or grade 10 and had their fourth choice. It's not like people also didn't get their first choices. They are also legitimate ones, very legitimate, that also had their first choices. And they probably have also done better.
So what was the situation right now? Are parents gathered there trying to fix their problems?
No. I mean, yesterday, for instance, I was at the ministry. No one was there. So this is what we did. We did.
So you mean no parents has
no
come to your offices asking for help or resolving one issue or the other?
We are able to even monitor. I mean, this year, as part of our efforts, there's also a software monitoring the analytics, where you are able to see even the subscription rate with regards to the self-placement. As at last 2 days, that was the last time I checked, even self-placement had crossed 39,000. Okay. So it means that people are getting to understand the process and are even quickly going onto the portal to do self-placement. Beyond that, we also put out, a call center number. So there is a call center, regional call center, and national call center. If you go to the CSSPS Secretariat right now, the likes of Mark Sasu and Co., Dr. Adako and Co., what they've done is to place a call center, 50 capacity, where all concerns are being heard and being addressed promptly. And so there is no need to even go and gather anywhere. Okay. Of course, there are some of the concerns that you can also address through calls. Okay. So there are also the national solution centers. If we have one, I think that is the all regional NAT offices. There is one at the national level at the regional NAT office, where when you go, our staff are there trained to address all the concerns that will come up. So I'm sure it's based on the decentralization of our resolution centers and our call centers. That is why we are not seeing what we saw in previous times, where parents will have to go and gather at the Independence Square. And
well, they say seeing is believing. That's why I want to cross over to the Computerized Placement Center, where Blessed Soga is stationed there for us. Blessed, what can you report from that center? At the Computerized Placement Center where you are. All right, so Blessed Soga is there, and you've just heard, Blessed, what can you report from the center? I can see a lot of people there. What exactly is the situation there? All right, so we'll try and get Blessed to, so he's on.
We know that about 3 days ago, the Ghana Education Service opened its portal to allow for the computerized placement system to be effected, which means that potentially students will now be able to assess the schools that they've been placed in terms of admission into senior high schools across the country. Now, we know that that process started about 3 days ago. However, some parents and schools have had challenges placing students into the various senior high schools. There are also some anomalies in terms of the placement, the computerized placement system. So what the Ghana Education Service, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, has done is to open up a center where parents and those who have challenges accessing the CSSPS system can go onto that portal and then come over here to the NAT hall and then try as much as possible to rectify the challenges that they are having with their system. So what you see now are scores of parents who have been here since morning, trying as much as possible to engage some of the officials of the Ghana Education Service and the placement system to try and rectify their challenges. Some parents have gone through the process already, and let's try and engage with some of them. There's a gentleman here who came since morning, right?
Mr. Nelson.
Yes, Nelson has been here since morning, and he actually has a challenge in terms of the placement system for your daughter, right?
Yes, please.
So which school was your daughter placed in?
My daughter was placed at Kaneshi High. Senior High School. Senior High School.
Okay. So what was the challenge with the placement?
The challenge with the placement is that where I live is far from Kaneshi, and it has been given day school, which will be difficult for me looking at the current situation, the transportation problem. So if it were to be boarding school, no problem.
Right. So Nelson, you also tell me that it appears that looking at the grade that your child has, she's not supposed to be placed in the 5th grade school, right? Or 5th selection?
Not at all, because we know that from 6 to 10 is supposed to be 1st grade, and from 11 to 20 is supposed to be 2nd grade. My child got 19, so at least if not 2nd grade, 3rd could have been better, but rather the 5th grade they give to her.
Okay, so since what time did you get here, and have you been attended to?
Well, I came in the morning. I went to the Ministry of Education before we were directed to come here. So we have just arrived here. We have been asked just to write 2 choice of schools and leave. They will call us. So we don't know when they will call.
So you don't even know when?
We don't know our fate. They have given us a paper to write 2 choices of schools and leave. That is a process. So they will call us. That's what we have been told.
So Nelson, you're hopeful that something will be done about it soon?
Yes, of course. We are hopeful they will do something.
Thanks, Nelson, for talking to us. So Nelson is one of the parents who's actually going through the process here. And if my cameraman can just show you what the process looks like. What you see on your screens now is how the Ghana Education Service has arranged the NAT Hall, a center where it will be engaging parents who have challenges with the placement system. So you see some parents already going through the process of rectifying whatever challenge it is that they have with the school selection system. So if you're listening to us now or you're watching us live on the JoyNews channel, you need to know that where you can rectify all of these challenges is actually at the NAT Hall. NAT Hall. It's a resolution center that has been set up by the Ghana Education Service. Fortunately, some of the supervisors who are here with us, assisting parents through the process, will help us understand what's happening. There's one of the supervisors here who would explain to us. Good morning to you, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Your name?
Afra.
Okay, so Afra, explain the process to us. What are we seeing happening now, and what arrangements have you put in place to resolve the challenges of parents who are here?
Okay, what we are doing now is, this place is a resolution center. Some of the parents are here that they've not gotten a school. Others still want to change school. Others still said they want to change programs, courses, and the rest. Others who want technical school. So that is what we are doing here. So we will look at your issue, and then we see how best we can address it for you. But there's a portal called Self-Placement Portal. So those of them who have not gotten school, we will direct them to go to the CSSPS portal, and then they will go lodge their complaint. That we have a lot of schools on the portal, and then they can choose that one for themselves.
But what we see now, I can count over 100 parents here. What's accounting for that long queue that we're seeing on our screens now?
All right, you will pick their issue, that you address it for them later, but they want it to resolve. They want you to resolve it for them immediately, and we can't do it for them now because the access is not active now. The access will be activated latest by close of business today, so we will start working on their issues, and then we have their contact as well. So once their issue is resolved, then we give them a call for them to check and then take the slip to the schools. Yeah.
So on the average, how long will it take to address the concern of a parent?
Oh, by close of Friday, from today up to Friday, we should be able to clear all the issues that we have on our desk. Yeah.
Are the portals still open, and for how long will you keep the portals open?
Yeah, the portal, we will spend 6 weeks on the portal, so the portal is still active. They can go there, access every information that they want to access on the portal.
And for those of you who are with us on the JoyNews channel, don't forget that this is the NAT Resolution Center, where the Ghana Education Service has set up a center to also try and address the challenges of parents. We'll be walking you through the process shortly, but I believe this center has been set up across, is it the region or the country as well?
No, we have regional resolution centers as well. So those of them in Kumasi, every region, we have regional coordinators and then regional directors of education over there, so they can walk to the region, take their complaints over there. They will forward it to us for us to resolve it for them. So they shouldn't travel all the way from far and near, like to come here. And then moreover, we have a call center number. The number is active now. So if you have any challenge, you are not supposed to even walk in here. You can call the call center number, and then your issue will be resolved for you. Okay.
So that was Blessed Soga interacting with some parents and managers of the Computerized School Selection and Placement Center, the resolution center that has been created at NAT for parents to go and get their problems resolved. I still have with me Kwesi Kwating in the studio. Kwesi, it looks like many of the things you were telling me, it's not actually what is the reality on the ground. One parent said that his child was placed on the fifth choice, and the child had 19. So even if it's not first, second, you should give the child the third choice. Here you are, you've given him fifth choice, and that even not the problem. He's also complaining that if you look at where he lives and where they've given the child, they've placed the child, it's going to be a problem because it's supposed to be a day student.
Okay, Aisha, let's understand this as a basic rule. Nobody's going to place you in a school that you did not select. And as soon as you select schools, you should be ready to be placed in any of them. So those are the two basic principles that you have to understand. The fact that you selected a grade A school does not necessarily mean that you have to be placed in it. Because the placement is not being done for one person or an individual. It's not done on an individual basis. It's done en masse.
Okay.
Juxtaposing your performance, your grade with other students.
Okay.
So, of course, indirectly, saying that probably the person had 19 and should have given his first or second choice only is an indirect or cold word to say that somebody who had 6 should have been displaced for you. Because
not really. He understands that, I mean, 19 shouldn't be first or second, but third should work out.
Right. Well, where from this logic? Especially when I've already explained that you are competing with other students based on residential status that other students might have also selected.
If residential status, then his residential status was not considered.
He selected. How do we know? You selected it. You made that choice that this is the list of school. That's why I'm saying that before we even did the placement, there was something like we call test for confirmation to even give validation of the choice that you've already made. It is not as though the person, I mean, the parent never denied that they never made a choice. He said, "Oh, my mommy, they've given me." But check the placement slip. You realize that everything that was there reflects what he has been.
I think
probably it's the choice that, I mean, even within the choice, it's the preference within the choice that he did not get. But it's not as though he did not make the choice.
Maybe going forward, you should allow people to choose C schools, B schools as fourth and fifth choice.
No, that's what we did.
So that when that happens, they will not be complaining. Because
so that's what they did. So you can choose one grade A school, right? You have an option to choose 2 grade B schools.
Okay.
And then the grade C schools, I think you can choose up to 5 of them. And then the compulsory within your catchment area. So it's structured in such a way that at every point there is an opportunity for you. Then that's why it's very important that during the selection process, it's not only left at the behest of the ward. Other than that, they will just go and follow their friends and select schools where you, the parent, genuinely knows that their performance is not up to.
And the teachers.
And what happens is that if you miss your first, second, third, it's possible that your third is even somebody's first. He will be given a priority ahead of you in terms of the system. Then he pushes you back and then you complain. At the end, they tell you that they did not select their school. You take the placement slip and you realize that. And this man never denied that they never selected. He's just not happy with the selection that they made.
You are hopeful, briefly, that all the people there will get their issues resolved?
Oh, obviously. Especially the genuine ones. I mean, Aisha, the fact that everybody is there does not mean that all issues, I mean, especially, for instance, I mean, I'm unable to speak to how they are going to work. But I feel that all genuine issues are supposed to be addressed, because let's also be very realistic here. If everybody is to go there and say that I made these choices, but I don't like again, whose child should we displace for you to go? It's also a question that we need to answer.
Okay. I'm grateful for your time. Kwesi Kwating, he's spokesperson of the Ministry of Education. We'll take a break. When we'll return, Ghana faces Nigeria today in Abuja. How are the Black Stars going to be performing? When we'll return, we have all the details for you. Time now for sports. Mishael is here. Mishael Kwedu, how are you?
I'm eager and anxiously waiting for 5 p.m.
I am hopeful the Black Stars will make us proud today. I mean, how does it look like? Preparations towards the match? Well, I think, was it yesterday there was blackout?
Yeah,
while they were training. I'm told it was deliberate.
That's
why would the Nigerians do that?
Okay, so
after all the warm welcome they give to us.
Did you say warm welcome?
Yes, I mean it was a red carpet event, isn't it?
Okay, well, yes, they gave us a warm welcome. Actually, did we give them a warm welcome? Because their players had to jump off the plane onto a ladder. So I don't know if that was their payback was over. So I mean, that's what people are saying. You did them this, you did this to them, so obviously they have to give you a little bit of their own welcomes. They're in Nigeria, so
they said they were going to do it, out of us. So they've started right, but we won't give them that opportunity.
No. I don't think so. And from yesterday's press conference, I mean, the head coach Otto Addo looks so confident. He looks, try to say hungry, because the biggest issue about the Black Stars right now is if we can go to Nigeria and score goals. And what he said, straightforward was that, no, I'm not quoting him word for word, but he said, our forwards are going to score. Just wait and see. And that should give us some confidence, because if he's with the players and he's seeing whatever has gone through training and the days to build up and all of that,
and he's giving us that assurance.
And I mean, we can all should just take his word.
We take him, sir. George Adu Jr. is in Abuja, and he's joined us via Zoom. El Georgiou. How are you, El Georgiou? How are you doing in Nigeria?
I'm great. I hope you are fine in Ghana.
Have you tasted the Nigerian jollof already?
Come again?
Have you tasted the Nigerian jollof already?
I actually know what it tastes like. I don't think I want to have another experience. I'll stick with the memories of the Ghana jollof, and when I come back, I'll continue from there. It's a very good spot. So I'm spending time with a local dish. I think yesterday, not okra.
Egusi. Okay. So tell us, what can you say from the camp of the Black Stars? How is it looking like? Should we still be hopeful for...
Yeah, I like your Ghana jersey, and I like that, football unites all of us. I really like that. But I'll give you some news about the number of supporters. The team is definitely getting ready for the game. They will be fine in the end. They're supposed to get a result that qualifies us for the World Cup. And from what they did yesterday at training session, we should be very confident. The other thing is that, can we create an atmosphere like what we had in Kumasi? The number is no. So this is what is happening at the moment. As I speak to you, I'm at the Ghana High Commission in Nigeria. We just spoke to the Ghana's ambassador to Nigeria, Rashid Bawa, who was just confirmed. And this is more like the news is just in, that they have secured 1,800 tickets for Ghanaian supporters. So Ghanaian supporters in Nigeria, all you need to do is come to the stadium and you get a ticket to go and watch the game for free. Before they go to the stadium, there is a nice buffet here for lunch to get all the supporters, eat good food, and then they move on to the stadium. So there's a lot being done here to make sure that there's at least some Ghanaian representation at the Moshood Abiola Stadium. Also, we're expecting a number of supporters from Accra to touch Abuja the next 50 minutes to join the 1,800 we're expecting at the stadium. In all, we should have about 2,500 supporters, and we should be able to fill at least a wing inside the Moshood Abiola Stadium so that we can support the boys and see what they can do. It's very much in the hands of Nigeria because they're playing at home, but all the home support can become pressure if they don't get the goals early. Our plan is to make...
We're all in high spirits supporting the Ghanaians, even though they're not playing back home. But we know that we're with them in spirit, and they'll make us proud this evening. Thank you so much, Michelle, for bringing us sports. Thank you, George, for the update from Nigeria.